Hello again. Today we have a 2007 Honda Civic with a bad left rear wheel bearing. So we're going to go through the process of changing out this easy to replace wheel bearing and show you how to do it if you have a Civic that also needs a wheel bearing replaced. Be careful buying the wheel bearing. I'll tell you this now, I've already bought the part. So I'm about to bring it in and lift it, put it on a jack stand. But buying the part was interesting because this Civic has no badging. So if you're working on for somebody, you don't know what the trim is. Even the ownerships didn't tell me. Turns out this is, I ended up running the VIN and it said that it's a Civic EX, which good thing I did because an EX is a special bearing all on its own and every other Civic uses another bearing. It's something to do with the ABS. So just make sure that when you order your bearing, you get your proper bearing for the car if you're working on a rear of a Civic of this vintage. Okay, so let's get to work. Alright, so I got the car up on a jack stand. Safety first. I've had a car follow me. We won't talk about that. But it wasn't a lot of fun. Actually, I've had it happen twice, which kind of makes me a bit of a dumbass, but I was a teenager then, and 15 years later I look back at it and it's a good lesson. Anyway, the brakes are a little rusty. This thing has been waiting to get fixed, so hasn't been a lot of driving done on it. That's the reason it looks so gross. What we're going to do here though is it's pretty straightforward. We're going to take off the brake caliper, and we're going to smack off the rotor. A lot of times there's two screws in it. This side's obviously been serviced before. There's no screws in it, but if there is, you got to take those out. They can be a pain. Grab an impact if you have one. Get them out with that. It's a number 3 Phillips. If that doesn't do it, grab a large number 3, or if you don't have a impact, grab a large number 3 Phillips screwdriver. Whack the end of the handle a couple times with a hammer, really good, big hammer. I'm talking like a mini sledge or a ball peen or something like that, not like a little framing hammer or something. Get a big one, get some good dead blows on it, and then try turning them. Don't try too hard, they strip easily. If they do strip, worst case scenario, which is probably what happened here, is someone drilled them out, I'm guessing, and then you can always drill the heads off. So we're going to start by taking the caliper off, removing the brake rotor. Usually the brake rotor is removed after these screws are off by giving them, if you want to save them, a couple hits here, a couple hits here with the ball peen. Watch the studs. A really good practice to do is thread your lug nuts back on before you hit it. And this is a basic job. So I'm sorry if someone with a little bit of experience is watching this and is like, are you kidding? Or he's telling me to put the lug nuts. But it's a good idea for someone. I'm trying to show someone how to do this kind of in their backyard who's pretty much never worked on a vehicle before, how to change a wheel bearing on one of these Civics. So on the back of the brake caliper here, you can see the mounting bolts, and those are the ones you're going to want to take off, which are right here. And there's one more below. And they're the ones that actually mount this bracket on. So just follow this bracket and mount with those ones. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and then show you how to proceed. Okay, so this is what we're left with after we unbolt this. Just for sizing, I know a lot of you guys like to hear that. It's two 14 millimeter bolts through here, hold this bracket on, top and bottom. Now once you get this hub off, or the brake rotor off, you can clearly see 2 bolt here, 2 bolt on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and back those off and pull this bearing assembly out. Alright, so after you get the bolts all loosened off in the back, and they're a little interesting, they're also 14 and they're longer. A lot of them can just stay in there though. Once you get the bolts undone in the back, here, I'm just gonna straighten out. Sorry about the wiggliness. I should get both my hands for a minute. Once you do that, you can just pull this hub assembly and bearing right out, and the new one goes into the assembly. And basically installation's just exactly the same. You put your 4 bolts back in to hold this, put your brake rotor back on, slide your caliper over the brake rotor, put in your 2 bolts. Put your tire back on. That's 2007 Honda Civic wheel bearing. Probably one of the easiest wheel bearings you'll ever be able to find. So I know it's common on these cars for them to go, and a lot of people think they're going to bring them into the shop or whatever, but before you do that, you could probably do this yourself. Make sure you tighten everything up properly and observe all the proper torque specs to make sure you're not going to have a wheel flying off later on.